Already good. Well, when we get rolling, and I'll just give a quick intro. I'll get us going once you start it.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, the Economic Development Commission, March 1st, 6 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening, commissioners and guests. We'll move right on to item 2 on the agenda, which is audience of citizens. Chris, you can take that over, introduce who you may, and we'll roll with it, Chris. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Perfect. Just to make this a little easier for minute's sake, if you are speaking and you're not one of the commission members, if you could please mention your name before you speak. That way, when Kristen's doing the minutes, she knows exactly who it is. Conversely, we're going to have Ken Wallen first speak, and then after that will be Attorney Tim Sullivan. I put information in the packet. Ken is a company interested in locating at 2378 Berlin Turnpike. That is the industrial building just south of Safari Golf. It is up on the hill. It's not really visible from the road. It happens to be in a zone that doesn't necessarily fit in the property. So essentially, I'm going to let Ken speak a little bit. We'll talk about Ken's company when we get down to the planning and zoning portion of the agenda instead of making a decision now, because we have one other thing to discuss. Alrighty, Ken, you're up.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. My name is Ken Wallen from KMK Property Maintenance and KMK Plumbing and Heating. Chris, does everyone get a copy of that email we sent? Chris?
I did get it to everyone as part of the agenda. I don't know if everyone had read it or not, so you might want to just give us a Cliff Notes version.
Sure. Yeah. So myself, I started in Local 777, Plumbers and Pipe Fitters. And 2013, I went on my own, got my contractor's license and went on my own. A year after we started, that's when we started KMK Plumbing and Heating. And a year after we started KMK Property Maintenance. We're a small company, family owned, father, son, a few employees. Where most of our contracts are in Meriden, a few are in Middletown, a couple in Middlefield as well. We've been looking for a property that we can sort of transition into and grow into at the same time. And we found a few, but they fell through, and a lot of it was because of zoning or bank issues or what have you. So this property here that we're looking at, it fits our style, we're here today just to ask, for some leniency on the zoning there, and I don't know if this is possible.
Yeah, no, well, Ken, this commission is not the one that would deal with the leniency. Now is really to get their feedback on your use, what you're going to do there. This is a commission that more makes recommendations to planning and zoning. So they're not the one that's necessarily doing it. But if you can kind of talk about what you're going to do inside and outside the building, that would be helpful.
Okay. Well, I mean, first of all, we would like to, we'd like to take the place and, and beautify it more or less. The building needs a little help now. The grounds need some help. But again, we're a small business and, we're low maintenance. We have a few vehicles, some equipment, property maintenance equipment. I don't know what else to say here, Chris, but
Look, okay. I mean, are you going to have any outside storage, or is it just going to be vehicles?
Yeah, very little storage outside, but most of our stuff will be inside, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Carmen Shapiro. I represent Ken Wallen. I'm his realtor. And the other thing that we have spoken about is making offices for Ken and his staff. Although his staff will be working off-site most of the time, when they do need to do some maintenance to the vehicles, it will be indoors. We have spoken about the outside having some storage just for some of the equipment But Ken is trying to expand his business. We think that the property is ideal for that. That, like he mentioned, there will be minimal storage outside of his vehicles. Obviously, he wants to keep them indoors so that the wear and tear on them is not that bad for them. So basically, he's looking. He currently has, excuse me, a lease in Middletown, and he's looking to transition his business over to Berlin, where once again he can grow it. But the inside of the building will have some office space and store most of his equipment. The outside of the building will be beautified. He will be planting some shrubs. He will be making sure that it's curb appealing and it's not an eyesore, not that it is now or anything, but just make sure that it is something that's visible and looks nice from the driving up and down the Berlin Turnpike.
Thank you, Carmen. Ken, quick question for you. If you were to do some things outside, would you be willing to do some kind of screening, fencing, something like that?
Absolutely, yes.
Great.
Okay, commissioners, at this time, if you have any questions for Ken or Carmen, you can ask them whatever you'd like. Okay.
Yeah, Ken, Ed Agazarian, Commissioner. Are you looking to lease this property or purchase it?
Purchase.
Purchase, okay.
Right now,
Commissioners,
I'm sorry, right now, this is Carmen once again. Right now, we are looking to work with the current owner. So it is a purchase. The owner has been very generous. We have gone back with the attorney. So it will be a purchase of the facility.
okay, thank you. Commissioners, I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at this building, how it's situated. It's basically a somewhat older Butler building, and the way it's located up on that hill. I personally think this is one of the exceptions that this company should be allowed to locate there, only because this building is basically tucked up on the top of the hill, and the basic retail or any other use for the BT2 zone probably just wouldn't work there. So I think we have someone that maybe we should consider supporting for this type of use.
Yeah, I can say it just to piggyback on what Commissioner Agazarian had said. I have been working with the agent, the listing agent on this, and nothing has come in that fits the current zoning. Current zoning essentially is retail, office, food. That's about it. And because of the distance to the road, none of those will work on this property.
Any other questions from the commissioners or comments regarding this project?
Awesome.
Yeah, it
Well,
is Commissioner Campbell. I got a question about when you're cleaning up and, because right now it's pretty secluded. You really can't see it from the highway. Are you gonna clean up that front, or is they gonna leave it kind of a secluded partial?
I believe Ken's plan is to leave it as secluded as he can. Obviously, he does have hundreds of thousands worth of equipment. However, the area leading to will be cleaned up because the driveway is a pretty steep driveway. I don't know if you guys have, driven by, like Chris said. But basically what he's looking to do is clean up as much as he can and not have it be, like, once again, but keep it secluded enough where his equipment is not going to be visible to the road. Ken, please add.
Yes, yes, exactly, Carmen. We'd like to clean it up as much as we can, but also maintaining privacy as much as possible.
All right, I would say if there's no more questions, what we can do is work our way down the agenda. We can talk about this a little further when we get to the planning and zoning portion of the agenda.
Chris, I have one question for Carmen
Please.
and Ken. Have you entered into a purchase agreement to date, or you're just talking?
As of right now, we do have a deposit on the facility. It is given to the attorney or to the other agent. Basically, is returnable if the zoning is not approved. If the zoning is approved for Ken to go ahead and have his businesses there, then we will move along with the purchase of the property.
Okay, thank you, Carmen.
Thank you.
Chris, Chris Edge, did you indicate that you wanted to talk about this later, or you wanted to wrap up discussions about this now?
We can do it two different ways. We had someone else express an interest in the building, but I'd say, actually, you know, why don't we just go ahead now with the commission as they desire? That would make more sense.
Yeah, well, I would think that since they have a purchase and sale and a deposit, it appears they're the buyer right now. So I think we should either decide to support them, table it, or not support them. Because you know,
And Dave,
Mr. Wallen is going to be moving, his next move is planning and zoning, right? Because he has a purchase and sale right now. He's going to go to planning and zoning next. He wants zoning approval.
Yes.
So it's not that, you know. Go ahead, Carmen.
Deposit down. I apologize. We did put a deposit. It wasn't a very hefty deposit. However, we also did not want to lose the facility. For both of Ken's businesses. So that's the reason why we decided to put some earnest money down on it. And again, like I said, it's all up to planning and zoning. Change where he may add his businesses there, then we're going to go ahead and proceed forward. And if not, then we will be moving on to another facility.
Okay, so the seller is agreed and the buyer has agreed, contingent upon zoning approval.
And I believe it is, Dave. Let me add one thing. The process here is a little different. Because it doesn't fit in the zone, essentially planning and zoning would need to decide if this use is the same or less intensive than the last use, which is a fiber optic. I believe it is, looking at what he's doing here, but just to kind of let you know, it's not a regular process, but it still has to go through planning and zoning.
Okay, and I understand that, Chris, but I think that we should either support, table, or not support these people. They've got a purchase and sales agreement, and I guess from an economic development standpoint, we know what the current zoning is. The likelihood of, you've talked to the realtor, the likelihood of them getting a contract that fits the zoning retail is, they've had no action on it. It appears that some of the commissioners want to support this use. So I'd be looking for commissioner comments on as to whether we should support, not support, table as they move along, leave us to go to planning and zoning.
And Dave, let me correct that. We don't have a purchase agreement. We have a letter of intent right now. It is not a purchase agreement. Like I said, we will move forward once we are approved with zoning.
All right. Well, that's a little different than if you just have a letter of intent.
However, we do want to move forward. It's just we definitely need approval from zoning in order for us to move forward.
Okay, Carmen. So what I'm going to do is ask the other commissioners to weigh in, please.
Thank you.
Well, you know.
All right, Mr. Chairman, could we just move to 5, planning and zoning, and then we can take up KMK plumbing? Is that acceptable?
Can you repeat that, Mr. Gazarian?
Yes. I think because we have to look at our agenda, so we can move this up under 5, planning and zoning. If we can now bring up KMK plumbing, just to follow our agenda.
Oh, I see. Okay.
for discussion. Is that acceptable?
I don't have a problem with that.
I think it's acceptable. We've done it before.
Okay, good. Let's go.
Okay, so the floor is open for the rest of the commissioners to weigh in with regard to this KMK proposal.
Gentlemen, I'd like to show my support for KMK. It seems like a perfect location up on top of the hill like that. Can't really see anything with, as long as it's kept neat. I assume there's some room in front for signage if he decides to put a sign up. But I think it's a nice fit for that location.
Yeah, I have to agree. It is a secluded area. We were concerned, like when we get contractors on the highway about equipment and everything being left outside. And you just can't see this from the highway. So I put my support behind it too.
I believe the storage yard is in back of the building as well, so it really is not visible from the roadway at all.
This is Commissioner Chastity. I'm in agreement to support these people.
Thank you, Mr. Chastity. Anything for Mr. Coppola, Mr. Sisti, or Mr. Agazarian?
Yeah, this is Bob Sisti. Based on the information we got, I also like the fact that he's not going to be clearing out the front area, so we're not going to be seeing, construction type equipment from the road. But as long as he maintains it up top, I'm not sure what the protocol is on verifying that, but I would support it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sisti. Anything else, Mr. Coppola, Eddie?
I'm good with this project. If someone wants to make a motion, I think it's a good fit.
Okay, I haven't heard anything from the commissioners to the negative. Everyone seems to be in support of this project, so I'd be looking for a motion from the commissioners and then a second.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to support the KMK plumbing on this spot on the Berlin Turnpike.
Thank you, Mr. Campanelli. Second somewhere?
I'll second that, Commissioner Sear.
Keith Bostrom seconds that. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Whalen.
Thank you very much.
And good luck.
You're welcome.
And then Carmen will be in touch as we head towards planning and zoning, can assist you with what's next.
We thank you very much for allowing us to be part of your meeting and for the support that we are getting from all of you in the town. I think that it's going to be very beneficial for all of us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you again.
Good night.
Okay, so
Oh, actually, we're going to stay with audience of citizens, only because Tim Sullivan, Attorney Sullivan, has come in with some changes to gasoline filling stations, and I wanted him just to give a quick overview on what those changes are. We're part of the packet, but there's a lot of information, so I asked him to kind of make it the Cliff Notes version for us so we know what the difference is and why.
Chris, did you want Ken and I to stay on?
No, you don't need to. No, we're good.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if do I have a visual or just can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Just audio.
Just audio. Okay. I think I got my camera on. I don't know. I can try to do this. You don't have to see me, I guess. Want me to try to get my camera on? I thought I had the visual on.
Don't even worry about attorney. I just say, why don't you just go forward with what you
Okay.
what you're looking for.
All right. Well, good evening, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity tonight to address the committee the commission on our proposal that's pending in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission right now. First of all, I want to applaud Chris Edge, who might be the hardest working guy in town hall, maybe in the state of Connecticut. I don't do much social media, but it's not uncommon for me to have 32 or so notifications from Chris as to what's going on in town. He does a great job, and he's been very, very much of a cheerleader for this, for my client's attempt to amend the regulations. And so I'll get right into the proposal. This is not a site-specific proposal. We have a proposed amendment to the Berlin zoning regulations. The public hearing on this is for March 18th. The proposal is for an amendment to the regulations, specifically a new section 6G3EE. That is an amendment right in the Berlin Turnpike BT1 zone. It's adding a special permit use within the Berlin Turnpike zone, which it is and it isn't adding a new special permit use, because a gas station, this deals with gas stations and convenience stores. And right now, by special permit, that is permitted in the regulations. Unfortunately, section 11R12 of the regulations, which permit this special permit under automotive services, significantly limits the type of proposal that can be put forth. And I say that because right now there is a prohibition in most zones, in almost all zones, that a gas station cannot be located within 1,500 feet of an existing gas station. And there's a limit that at filling stations which do not offer repair services, as an accessory use, a maximum of 2,000 square feet of space may be utilized for the display of retail merchandise. So our proposal for the new section 6G3EE cuts out just in the BT1 zone that there is no more prohibition of 1,500 feet, and that you can have a convenience store, for lack of a better term, of not less than 5,000 square feet to service that gas filling station and provide your typical convenience store food, etc. Was that part of your pack? I don't know if I don't want to get too in depth on the actual proposal. Was that part of your package? I mean, did you see our new section 6G3EE?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they were in the
Okay.
packet I had given to them.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I can get right into the specifics. This is significant. This is a proposal that is supported by the Plan of Conservation and Development, as well as the 2009 Berlin Turnpike design guidelines. What we did is we did not amend section 11R12 because we wanted to keep, we didn't want to change the 1,500-foot prohibition except in the BT1 zone. So that prohibition was dropped previously by the commission, by the Planning and Zoning Commission, under section 6I3, specifically 6I3, small letter I, and that's considered the I guess stop and shop amendment, which allowed a gas filling station if it was part of a complex of structures comprising a stopping center, principal building containing a principal tenant occupying not less than 60,000 square feet. So we wanted to keep the proposal very similar to that, limiting it just to the Berlin Turnpike and just to the BT1 zone. we recognize that you don't want a proliferation of gas filling stations throughout the downtown section of, and that would not be permitted. We're not changing that at all. But this would allow, this recognizes the changing nature of the gas filling station. We call it a gas filling station, but we're slowly morphing into I guess, a refueling station, and not just limited to gas, because you can refuel with electricity today. And, in a few years, the EV recharging is probably going to be used more than gas filling stations. And this would allow the scalability of such a facility. Right now, Section 8(3)(b) of the Connecticut General Statutes states that the Planning and Zoning Commission has to consider the plan of conservation and development. Well, the plan of conservation and development encourages discretion in the commission to accommodate economic growth, enterprises, and facilities to enhance development potential. The age of the 2,000 square foot convenience store attached to a gas filling station is slowly coming to an end. In fact, most of your footprints now, that whether it be a Cumberland Farms or other large scale retailers, they want at least 5,000 square feet. Many stores will have more than 5,000 SKUs or stock keeping units. That's the barcode. And the existing 2,000 square foot limit on convenience stores doesn't support isn't supported by the plan of conservation and development, which really is trying to scale up the size by things like trying to promote aesthetically pleasing, create aesthetically pleasing appearance along the Berlin Turnpike, develop positive attributes with architectural style, materials, colors, site amenities. You're not going to get a developer to invest significant sums of money into the site unless you allow them to scale it up like we're proposing to do. And that's the reason that we believe, and the plan of conservation and development talks about this throughout the plan of conservation and development. They discuss this about creating a critical mass and big projects to accommodate the growth industries and businesses of the 21st century, and also to recognize that it's a fast changing real estate world, and the era of the 2,000 square foot convenience store is not slowly but very quickly coming to an end. So what we've proposed is just within the BT1 zone to allow the gas filling station in conjunction with a convenience store facility of not less than 5,000 square feet without the 1,500 foot prohibition. I think that's consistent with the Berlin Turnpike, where you have a state highway with a right of way ranging to over 150 feet, the average highway speeds in excess of 60 miles per hour, that this is an appropriate scale for this corridor. At this time.
Alrighty. Tim, do you mind if we take a couple questions?
Go right ahead.
Bob, I think you had a question.
I may have missed it, but where is this proposed location?
Well, there is no site-specific proposal in our text amendment. Our text amendment deals with the BT1 zone.
Well, you have to have something in mind if you're going through all this work.
Well, we do have something in mind, but there's no specific proposal at this time because we don't want the commission to feel as though they're limiting this to one specific site. This is not a spot zoning issue. That's why we would like to have this in all BT1s, in any property within the BT1 zone. Yes, we do have a specific site in mind. It is a TED site. It is a targeted economic development site, according to the Plan of Conservation and Development. And
Tim, we're losing you.
excuse me?
But we couldn't hear you there for a second.
The site that we have in mind is 337 Berlin Turnpike on the corner of Deming Road and the Berlin Turnpike on the southeast corner, the old industrial surplus site, which once again supported by the Berlin Turnpike, rather the Plan of Conservation and Development, because you're using existing infrastructure, you're redeveloping an underused site at this time. Obviously, the only use of the site at this time is really to sell carpets and Christmas trees on occasion. So I think this would be very beneficial to the town. And it is the way the real estate world is moving at a very fast pace.
Looked into the issue of the curb cut in that location?
We have, yes. This would actually, we're going to be combining some parcels, actually 3 different parcels, and we'll be reducing the curb cuts. Right now, it's really just an open curb cut. So we don't think the Department of Transportation will have any issues with a site-specific proposal, because they're going to actually, they're going to actually have more control over that site by limiting the amount of curb cut space. We would obviously be subject to site plan approval as well. It would be by special permit, so the Planning and Zoning Commission would still have an awful lot of discretion as to approving it and what the conditions would be for approval of a site-specific project. And we would ask, just in regard to the 1,500-foot prohibition, no other town has that on the Berlin Turnpike. I think the way to control really the 1,500 foot, I think at one time dealt with the downtown area where you don't want, gas stations popping up everywhere. Here, I'm not so certain that would pop up everywhere, because you're talking about a 5,000 square foot building. So I'll leave it at that for now. Entertain any more questions you might have.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Sullivan. Any, I don't know, Mr. Sisti, if you're done yet, or if you have more questions for Tim.
No, and I don't know if this is for Tim, but that's a whole development, and the gas station would only be part of it, and us just knowing the gas station part may not be enough info.
Okay. Any other commissioners have comments or questions for Mr. Sullivan this evening? Okay. Well, I have a couple of questions. Tim, when you say you guys are in front of planning and zoning, the pitch that you're giving us this evening is, have you done that to planning and zoning already?
No, the public hearing is March 18th.
Okay, and so with respect to the public hearing on March 18th, I guess, are all the property owners in BT1 zone and abutters notified?
I don't believe so, no.
They're not.
No, it's not site specific, so there's no notification.
So the other gas station across the street from the site that you're proposing is not going to be notified as to what's going on.
No.
Okay.
It wouldn't affect their use of their property.
No, I know, but it might, from a competitive standpoint, have a huge impact in their sales and revenues.
Well, I don't think state, local, or federal government should interfere in the workings of the marketplace.
Well, what happens if that specific property owner came to that site and he liked it or she liked it and opened up a filling station because of the 1,500 foot rule, and we take that rule away, which allows someone to open up right across the street.
That's capitalism.
Well, no, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen is what it is.
No, it's not. There would be no lawsuit at all. Government regulations change all the time. Government is not in business to protect businesses.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, I know you're an attorney, but I'm just thinking that this might happen. I know business owners and they're.
If that's the case, the Planning and Zoning Commission would never be able to change their regulations because it could always possibly affect somebody that's running a business. You come to regulations get changed all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess that, again, I'm not a zoning expert, that someone could appeal this. Let's say it goes forward and then planning and zoning decides to go forward with it, it can be appealed. I think that would be the process, not necessarily a lawsuit against the town. They could appeal the decision on the change itself.
Yeah, any planning and zoning decision can be appealed. It's very difficult to overturn a legislative decision, and this would be a legislative decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission to determine whether they were going to amend their regulations.
You know, Tim, I think I want a little clarification because Mr. Sisti did ask if there was anything else other than just the gas station as part of this proposal, and I don't think we got an answer to that.
Well, right now, the text amendment is just to allow a gas station without the prohibition with 1,500 feet in the BT1 zone. And there's also occupying not less than 5,000 square feet for an attached convenience store. Other than that, there are no changes. Any other proposal that's permitted under the BT1 zone can be submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Right now, the two-part proposal to remove the 1,500-foot prohibition, and there's also a prohibition that you can only have a convenience store of 2,000 square feet. So we're addressing those two limitations right now. And I'm really not sure the Valero gas station down where the next to the golf driving range is a 3,600 square foot convenience store. I'm not sure how that got passed in 2005. I think it was just an oversight by the Planning and Zoning Commission, not realizing that they had a 2,000 square foot prohibition or limitation. So there is actually an existing nonconformity that was passed, without a variance for the Valero gas station, and they allowed that convenience store to exceed the $2,000 or 2,000 square foot maximum size.
Okay.
But as for anything else, we're not. I mean, when we come with a site-specific proposal, we'll certainly come in front of the Economic Development Commission and seek their recommendation on that as well, as to what else would be part of this project. I think it's unclear what else is part of this project right now. My client is negotiating with many other prospective tenants, but those prospective tenants would be limited to whatever the permitted or special permitted uses were in the BT1 zone.
Okay. Tim,
right now, we're just looking for a text amendment.
Yeah, Tim, with respect to time, you have a public hearing with planning and zoning scheduled for the 18th of March. And are there time limits or time constraints when you come in front for the public hearing on March 18th? Is there 60 or 90 days thereafter before planning and zoning can do anything, or they can act right away?
Or they could act right away. The only limitation they would have would be they have to give regional notice, which they have, and like that's a 35-day notice period. So to allow regional to appear if they want to, the Regional Development Authority. But they could close the public hearing that night and vote on it if they saw fit to that.
And the reason
Or they
I,
have 65 days. They have 65 days to close the public hearing, and you can have extensions to that as well.
okay. Okay. And I asked that because, you know, I'm sure you're in front of us this evening looking for possibly some support. And I'm not sure how all the other commissioners feel yet. I'm curious as to what's going to come out of the public hearing, what will be said. So for me, I may want to wait to hear what the public hearing brings up before supporting or not supporting something like this. But I don't know what the other commissioners feel like. So I'll open it up to all the other commissioners, please, if you would.
Mhm.
This is Chris Capola. I don't so much have an issue with expanding it from 2,000 square feet to something bigger. I'm very familiar when I go out west to big, really flashy kind of stores that are kind of destinations. But on the other side of it, as economic development, every existing business is helping in our town, and every new business that we try to bring in will also help in our town. And I think that we also have a ethical obligation to make sure that, you know, we're not helping one business potentially step on another business. So I would just need a little bit more clarification of what it's going to look like. Is it going to be direct competition, things of that nature? Because I wouldn't want somebody to go then 800 feet down the street from them and do the same thing. And then we end up with, you know, 3 people trying to make a living because we, you know, everybody is taking each other's business.
Thank you, Chris. Any other commissioners have comments regarding this?
I would say from my standpoint, from economic development director, this potentially could be the piece to bring a nice development to the corner. I can't say for certain whether or not they will or will not move it ahead that night. My hope would be is they might keep it open for another meeting to get feedback. So I can definitely keep this commission in the loop on what happens with that on the 18th and the day after. Again, it's not something that's been brought up in a while, I don't think, the 1,500 feet. So my guess is there may be quite a bit of discussion on the planning and zoning side.
Chris Edge, this is Commissioner Keith Bostrom. Where did the 5,000 square foot number come from? How is that? Why is that the magic number, so to speak, as far as the building is concerned that the gas station is going to be attached to?
I thought it was 2,000, Keith, and they're trying to move it to 5,000.
It was 2,000. I think that was probably the model at the time. Why it's 5,000? That would be a question for Attorney Sullivan.
Oh, he wrote these this amendment?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay. Attorney Sullivan, where did that number come from? Just out of curiosity.
That's the current floor plan of your major convenience stores at this time. They're looking for 5,000, at least 5,000 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what you need if you want the type of development on the Berlin Turnpike, the type of investment. Nobody's going to invest in a significant way in a small 2,000 square foot structure. The plan of conservation and development promotes aesthetically pleasing and wants the investment. Well, you're not going to get the investment unless you allow the building to scale up.
Right. And I would assume that would support a significant number of pumps also.
Yes, I'm not sure how many pumps there are. Eventually, it's going to support the recharging of electric vehicles as well, where you're going to be able to drive up on a concrete pad, use your phone, and not even get out of the car and recharge your vehicle.
I see.
That's,
Thank you.
that's the direction the world's going. The
Oh,
1,500
understandable,
foot, the 1,500 foot prohibition is an antiquated, prohibition, that really, it's not recognized. Newington doesn't have it. Weathersfield doesn't have it on the Berlin Turnpike. Southington doesn't have it on Route 10. Berlin is the last of the towns to prohibit, it may have been the only town to prohibit 1,500 feet. And I did some research on the history of it. I'm not sure why the town has a 1,500 foot prohibition, but
Correct.
it doesn't support economic development in town.
Mhm.
Okay, folks, we're gonna have to move on to the rest of the agenda. Does anybody else have questions for Mr. Sullivan or believe that we should have a vote on this evening? My take is, but I'm just one of 7. So my take is we possibly wait to see what the public hearing brings. Mr. Edge can update us so we can get the minutes from that meeting and possibly address this at our April meeting. But I'm open for whatever the group wants to do.
This is Commissioner Chassie. I'm in agreement to wait until the public hearing so we get more information on this.
Any other comments, folks?
There is a significant number of proposals in this amendment, so I kind of agree with you also as far as that's concerned, waiting.
Anybody opposed to waiting?
Well, just
No.
to clarify that last comment, if I could, there's really just 2 proposals. There's one for allowing a gas filling station within 1,500 feet of another gas filling station, and for having the attached store be not less than 5,000 square feet. Those are the only 2 proposals.
Okay,
Right.
thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Is there any other commissioner that is opposed to waiting till April to address this? Okay, there being none, we'll table this matter till April. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess we're going to, let's see, where are we here? We didn't even do the minutes yet, right? From February, are we done with audience of citizens, Chris?
We are.
Okay, so let's go back to item 3 on the agenda. The minutes from the February meeting are in our package. So if you folks have had a chance to take a peek at them, I'd be looking, if they're correct and you're happy with them, for a motion to approve the minutes of the February meeting.
Chairman Sear, I would like to make a motion that we accept the meetings of the minutes of the February meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Bostrom. Second somewhere?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, Mr.
Peter
Campanelli,
Campanelli.
thank you. Okay, good. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion passes. All right, so Chris, I guess we're on item 4, right?
Yes, we are. Yep,
Okay, go
Bill
for it.
Stein, who is actually down the road from Mr. Campanelli. Sign maker had come to us probably about a year and a half ago to expand, actually create a brand new building on the site. It would involve their fleet, warehouse, and the like. So they're coming to us for a 5-year tax abatement on the building. They are spending over $1.6 million, which means they're eligible for the 5-year tax abatement on the new building. Good thing is this is going to add quite a bit to their footprint, 14 new jobs, and over $2 million investment between equipment and the building itself. So good news for manufacturing in town.
Chris, what's the schedule for 5 years?
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay,
Again, that would just be on the new section, would have nothing to do with the existing building.
And this is something we do pretty much normally. Right,
Yes,
when they put an addition on, we've done it before in the past with fewer companies, I remember.
yes, yeah, we did it with both Budneys. It's been done for Tom, so yes, it's very regular to do this. I'm impressed because it's $1 million expansion, which is pretty impressive in dollars and cents, almost over 2 million when you include the equipment.
They keep their place pretty neat, and they're a good taxpayer in town, and their vehicles are always pretty clean. And like they had people out in front one day, weed whacking the culvert out in front, trying to make it look nice. That's the kind of neighbor we need.
They do a nice
I'd
job.
support that. I definitely support that.
I like the fact they're also adding 14 jobs. I'd like to support it as well.
Any other comments from commissioners?
This is in our wheelhouse, exactly what we were looking for to happen in town, expansions and jobs. Can't say no.
Well stated, Bob.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, then I haven't heard any negatives regarding this, so I'd be looking for a motion to recommend this tax abatement application that's in our package this evening.
I'd make that motion. This is Chris.
Okay, Chris Coppola made the motion to approve the tax abatement.
Second.
Bob Slisty, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
We're on to what?
We are on to Artesian Building. Now, there's a sheet in there. Again, they're looking at the same building as K&K. At this point, just a quick recap, because they were unable to make the meeting tonight. They'd be looking to do about 1,000 square feet of showroom, 1,000 square feet of office space. Nothing is going to be outside. Their distributor is ABC Supply on the Turnpike, so all equipment, all materials go directly to job site. Roof replacement, siding replacement, 6 trucks and vans, and let's see, they have 2 wrapped dumpster trailers will be on the back side of the building. They take out the job sites. They'll grow their business, and basically the show will be part of inside displays of shingles, siding, accessories, and the like, as people might be interested in their product. So that's kind of what they're doing. They're looking for, similar to KMK, would like feedback and or a blessing on them going up to that building on the Turnpike.
They are not, Chris, excuse me, they don't have a letter of intent or a purchase and sales agreement, obviously, because the other guys do, right? Or they may
Yes.
have a letter of intent?
They basically have been talking to the owner. I don't believe they have a letter of intent yet.
Okay. So we'll open the floor up to whatever you fellas and folks want to talk about regarding this matter. Go ahead.
I got a question. Should we, you're gonna do both, or should you table this until to find out what happens with the other buyer?
I agree. We already have one proposal in front of us with the letter of intent. We don't know what type of signatures the second group has.
Well, at present, no one has approached Planning and Zoning Commission. So right now, there's really nobody in the lead if you're looking at it that way. But I'll take the commission's headway as you like.
Well, remember, the Realtor made a comment that they put in a small good faith deposit purposely. So there's obviously some outstanding things that are working in that deal over there. Do we want to give a blessing to one and then cut the other one out? Because if the first one falls through and the other one still fits in that.
I don't know. Myself, I'd rather wait to see what happens with the first one.
I agree.
Yeah, because if they get knocked off, right.
They can always come back in front of us, If the first one gets knocked off, then more than likely this is gonna get knocked off.
These guys want a showroom up there as well, which is kind of tough on that spot, that location.
That's a good point, Keith, because maybe with a showroom, they probably want to have more frontage up on the road so people could see them and they're not looking for a sign to head up in a hill somewhere in the back.
Yeah, we spoke about
Now
that.
you're dealing
that
with
hill going up
signage and
there. It's
everything.
tough.
Yeah.
Would you,
Good
do
point.
you want to table this and I'll see if they are willing to speak to us at the next meeting?
Yeah, let's hear their spiel.
Or do you want to see how it plays out with the other folks first?
I would just assume see how it plays out with the other folks myself.
Okay.
Yeah, if they don't have any, what's the right word I'm looking for? If they don't have any finality to it or anything like that, maybe you set the other people up to come in so we can at least see what they're trying to do. As a backup plan.
We can always hear it at that time. If the first one falls through, we can always hear it at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that this is probably the third and fourth or fourth and fifth companies I've spoken to about the buildings. I know there has been a lot of interest, and these are the first two that actually have asked to go see us, to come talk to us, so. Awesome. So, it's fine, we can move on then, if that sounds good to everybody. Gas station text amendment, we did not want to take any action. Contractors in BT1, BT2. I think we've had enough of that, talking about that property with these two. Facade balance and candidates. So just want to let you know, within the packet, we have $35,000 left in the program. And we are currently talking to two different people. One is Kern Mortgage. Kern Mortgage is at 979 Farmington Avenue, which I believe is either right next to the Red Barn or in the area. So literally at most 3 doors down from the new development that Steel Center is going to be doing. The other one is Pizza Kitchen. Pizza Kitchen is the old Hadfield space where the bakery on the Ave went out. Bill from Bella's has bought the building. He is looking to do a large facade on it, hopefully somewhere along the lines of what Dynasty Jewelers has, really to give it a nice upscale look.
So it's just gonna be one or the other. I mean, because 35,000 is not gonna go very far.
Yeah, I think potentially it may be a little bit to each. I don't know whether or not the Dairy Queen project is going to take the entire 60. But what I can do is keep you all in the loop as I have discussions with folks. But that's kind of where we are. The good news is a little bit of money left, but not tons to work with.
Yeah.
And we don't
So
foresee
Bill is
anybody
naming
that's. Sorry.
Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I just was wondering, do we, with the projects that are still out there and open, do they all look to be on point, on budget, where they're not going to come back to us looking for a little extra to help finish or things of that nature?
I don't believe so, no. So I think the only one. Yeah, I don't foresee any of these coming back and asking for more at this point. Some of them may not even happen. I mean, I don't know whether or not Suburban Sports is still going to happen. And yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape right now. Could they come back? Yes, I think it's unlikely.
Okay, so I just want to back up a little bit off the schedule, but Bill from Bella's is opening another pizza joint. Is that what it is?
It could be the Pizza Kitchen, and then there's more to it, but I don't remember exactly what the rest of the vibe is. I just do not remember.
Where's that at?
He bought that whole building, Chris?
He did.
Does that mean they're looking to relocate Bella's?
I don't believe so, no. Or at least that is the discussion I've had so far, is it does not sound like they're going to do that.
1083 is what, Chris? What building? You may have mentioned it, but.
Sure. It used to be the Hadfields building, and it was Bakery on the Ave was there most recently.
Okay.
Right next to the Mary's Bakery where Edward Jones is.
Yeah, the old head. Okay. So they own it now.
They own it, yes.
And then 979 Farmington Avenue is owned by Kern.
He's in the process of purchasing it. He would be coming in likely for landscaping and similar. So I don't think this is going to be a big project. I don't think he's going to redo it. That's one of the nice brick buildings there,
Is that
almost
next to-
across from Bronze Auto.
Is that CML's building? Yeah, I think it is. It's
Yes,
only
yes, I believe it is. Yep.
That's CML's building,
Yes.
Oh. Didn't we
right?
approve something for that last year too?
Yeah, we did.
No, we did.
That was Beatman. Was it?
No, not Beatman. We did someone a couple up from that
That
one.
was CML's building we did, right by Amco Tool entrance.
Yeah, we did. We did that. Yeah, we
Yeah.
We did Butchermas's building.
yeah. Well, which is CML's sister.
Well, I think they're two different buildings, but yes.
Oh,
we did. Yeah, they're two different buildings, maybe the same family, but two different buildings.
No, it can't be because I don't think so because you got Labeniacs, then you got the 2-3 families that are owned by Earl Wicklin. And then the next one, I believe, is
I think
CML's
Kern is
building.
next.
No, if you look at the sheet, we did 925 Farmington Avenue, which is the Butchermas building.
925.
925, yep. This one's 979.
So this is the old kitchen.
Well, it's where Kern Mortgage is.
Oh, is that where the Berlin Citizen was?
Think so.
That's where it is. It's where the Berlin
think so.
Citizen was. It's not
Yeah.
near Amco. It's on the other side of Vandrillis Plaza, right?
It's next to Tracy and Company.
Right. That's where it is. Because that's where Kern has his office.
There we go.
Okay, now we're getting it. But he doesn't own it yet.
No, I believe he's either under contract or in the process of purchasing.
Well, we know how this works. It's first come, first serve. You know, you get your application in and you roll,
Absolutely.
right? So,
It was, and this was more of just an FYI for all of you on where things were.
okay.
Alrighty, just about an hour, we'll try to run through this stuff. Berlin Bingo, we have over 100 businesses that are involved at this point. Seems to be a good amount of interest from the businesses, online as well. Interestingly enough, I actually got a phone call from WTNH Channel 8 today.
Wow.
So you may get to see my face again on television tonight. Who knows?
We're hitting New Haven County now, Chris.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Go north and south.
Hey, and any and all is good. The next piece is we had purchased a T sign on Timberland Golf Course. Actually, we'd purchased it in end of 2019 for the 2020 season, but the season was essentially a wash. So we basically will have a T sign, one of the nice granite pieces, and so I just put some proposed language right there in the packet for you to take a look at. Just quickly what it is, Berlin Economic Development, join our great community, grow here or relocate your business to town. Simple, straightforward. We can definitely mess with it, but we'll at least get something to you. I think that's probably about as long as we can go because it's a limited amount of space that Bob from Vital Signs has for the T signs.
Chris, could we include an email address on that or a phone number?
Yeah, we could do a phone number.
Probably suggest a website, not a phone number.
Yeah, that might be better, Bob, but I have to agree with you.
Sure.
We're probably just going to end up sending people to the main website, though. I don't know.
I mean, that's where they're gonna have to go anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
Bingo cards.
Let me talk to Bob from Vital Signs. Do we like the verbiage and the language here? That's probably a more important question. We can figure out the phone and or website after. Does it look like this
I think it
makes
looks
sense?
good. Looks
I
good.
like
I think it works.
I like it.
Right to the point.
That was the goal. Alrighty, I will plan on going with the language. I will let you know about what's going to happen with phone and or website. A couple ribbon cuttings, groundbreakings. Mia Bella, they opened up where Joel's hair was. We did the ribbon cutting last week. cuts of wood. This gentleman actually had come to town a couple years ago. He now has a cool little showroom in one of Vinnie Bresch's buildings. We're doing a ribbon cutting for him Friday morning. A couple other businesses that are opening up may or may not do ribbon cutting coming up. One is Brass City Tile. They took over the old theater on Webster Square Road. And then that's the other one that I was thinking about. So that's kind of what's happening with that one. Good momentum in a number of different areas.
What theater? You're talking about the old pool hall?
No. What was the theater that everybody used to go to? Oh, man.
Oh, I know.
Cabaret
Bro-
Theater.
Cabaret.
Oh,
Cabaret.
okay.
Cabaret, sorry. Yeah. Yes, Cabaret Theater.
A few people will recognize what I meant by theater by the pool
Yeah.
hall.
Yeah. Well, actually, that where the theater was is gone. That burnt with Woolworth.
Yes. Alrighty. The last piece was just presenting the budget that's going to be going forward for economic development this coming year. We had a number of different discussions with some of the folks on the finance side. We did end up adding, maybe not exactly 50,000, but pretty close to it. Promotion is now 40,000, and then contractual services was at 12.8. Now, contractual services could be used for signage. We were talking about industrial park signage, but also could be used for a consultant to help us with some of the marketing. I know we had talked about potentially center of it all, some other concepts. Our first discussion is going to be Wednesday night with the Board of Finance. Don't know what they're going to say, but we put this forward asking for an additional close to $50,000 to bulk up our efforts for marketing and promotion.
Okay, any questions or comments from commissioners regarding this budget proposal that's in front of us?
Chris, this is Chris. If for some reason when you're on with the Board of Finance, if you need any support from any of us, just ask. I'm happy to be there on that call with you as well.
Will do. Thank you.
I'll make that pitch.
I greatly appreciate it, Chris.
Is that is Jim Mahoney that 45,000?
Yes.
Honest question, Chris, is he still giving the value for that? And
He
you
is.
would know?
Yes, he is. He has gotten us numerous grants, and the interesting thing is, some of the grants have not been related to economic development. He actually got us a cemetery grant to help some of the cemeteries that had really gone to pot. Currently working on a couple different things on, I think, invasive species. So he's really been our guy up there on grant writing and getting grants again. I've worked with him on the grant writing as well, but no, he definitely has been worth the money, especially with everything happening over on Farmington Avenue, trying to coordinate 5 different state agencies. Without him, I don't think Steel Center would be going up without Jim.
It's only as good as the grant money that's out there.
That's exactly right.
Invasive species. The only problem I foresee with that is anytime there's some kind of invasive species project, that means there's no fields being built for the kids.
Well, the only thing is with this one is probably an invasive species specific one, but definitely, I mean, yeah, we keep an eye out for everything we can. Yeah, and I think most of it ends up being invasive species like within the ponds and the other things that are in town.
Weeds.
But yes, Bob, it'd be great to get grants for some more fields.
Okay, folks, anything else on the budget? Okay, thank you, Chris, for that. And we're rolling to item 8, folks, unless somebody else says something else they want to talk about. Okay. I'm not hearing anything else, so I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Coppola, second somewhere?
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
We'll let Mr. Chassis second that.
Everybody jump in all at once.
Yeah. Second that, yeah. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for coming, hanging tonight.
I will push to see if we can be there in person in April. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Good idea.
Great.
Okay, thanks.
Everybody, thank you.
Take care,
All right,
guys.
Aye, Kish.
Yeah.
Good night.